In my last demo, I showed you the serverless tier for singleton Azure SQL Databases. This demo, I'm going to show you more information about the serverless tier. This time, we'll take a look at it in action. So I have a database called size test, and if I take a look at the settings, we want to go into configure. I want to show you how I migrated this to the serverless tier. So in the previous demo I showed you, you go into the vCore pricing. I'm in the general purpose. I clicked serverless, and then I configured my max and min values. So my max value of 6 vCores, min is 0.75. That's the smallest I can go. And what I wanted to show you here is if I scroll to the right is the pricing. So we're looking at 0.000145 cents US dollar for the US East environment per second per vCore. So for each vCore per second, I'm paying a very small fraction of a cent. Really quick. So as the workload increases, it will scale up within your range. And as that workload decreases, it will scale back down. And it's very quick in doing that. So it helps save you a lot of costs. So it's not like you breach into the 6 vCore and you're stuck there for hours. It's real time. I've had a workload running for the past several hours. In this database, it's just random tables, lots of data. And what I've done is I did a select star from a huge table, and then I did smaller searches and so forth just to kind of simulate various workloads. So if we take a look at the overview of the server, and we'll scroll down and look at the CPU utilization, you can see over the past hour there's been some activity going on. If I scroll out to 24 hours, you can see a blip when I kick this thing off and a few other little things. It doesn't let us drill too far here, so I'll go into it, and then I'm going to change this to the last 4 hours. And now you can see more realistic. We had some activity occur first thing in the morning, people signing in, doing their stuff, and then it kind of trickled down. And then we see a few little peaks over on the right, where workloads came in, and then it kind of died off, and then more, come in. So if I go back, we had another graph, and this is the app CPU build. So this is our aggregate of what's actually been consumed for this SQL database. So I'm going to drill in here because on the previous graph it was like every 5-15 minutes or so. Here is every minute. So we can see 2:37 a.m. I go to the next one, 2:38 a.m. So for the past hour, we're looking at minute slices, even though we're being billed per second. So this is an aggregate for the full minute for those 60 seconds of activity. If I go to the far left, when nothing was occurring or very little was occurring, we can see I'm at 70 or so CPUs per minute when very little activity was occurring. Then I start doing searches. We can see workload starting to increase. And again, at the minute interval. If I back this out and look at the past 4 hours, now we're going to see it in 5-minute slices. So at 2:32 a.m., I go to the next here, 2:37. So we're looking at 5-minute aggregates here. And we can see that I really peaked up, 1.4 thousand, so 1,400 CPU cycles for that 5-minute interval as I had multiple clients doing select stars from very big tables. But we can see just from this, as the workload came up, it ramped up. More workload came in, it ramped up even higher within my thresholds. And then when that workload idled back down, then we see a reduction in billing for this compute. So think about it. If you have databases, they're not pegged or shouldn't be 100% compute all day long. It ebbs and flows. You have increases, decreases. And then maybe you have periods of time where it's after hours or whatever your workload intervals are where the server's not busy at all. In those cases, serverless can save you a lot of money. If I'm only using 60% of my compute, but of that 60%, only 8 hours or 10 hours per day, then this can idle you down and save you, half or more of your compute cycles or compute billing for that singleton database. So this is pretty neat. I mean, just a really simple demo of just doing some selects against a database to see how this reacts. And right now I've still got a workload going. That's why this hasn't trickled back down. It will eventually complete, and then I'll get back down into very low billing cycles. for my size test database, if I wanted to revert back, maybe I don't want to stay in this 6 vCore serverless tier. I want to go back to a provisioned tier. I can go back to provisioned. And then for me, if I'm not using this, I want to go back to an S0 for this database. I can't go to a basic because it's a 100+ gigabyte database. So I have to stay in an S0. I could say apply. And now it's going to go and resize me from this 6 vCore serverless over to an S0. So there you have it, serverless. If it meets the requirements for your singleton database where you want to be able to scale up, scale back down, I definitely suggest taking a look at this tier, trying it out, see how it works for you, and hopefully it's a good fit and can save your organization a lot of money.